Hello, all, and welcome to Movie Bears Podcast TV. I'm Brad Harris, and kind of when we all have time, we like to sit down with some hunky bears and talk about TV. Scheduling's been a little crazy for us lately, but we are happy to be back. With me, as usual, are my hosts that are co-ing with me. I don't know. It's been a long day.
Interesting. Yeah.
Co-hosting, host-coing, whatever. Casey Scott, welcome back to the show, Casey.
Thank you. Good to be here, and I'm still I'm still in Bear Week fatigue. 2 weeks.
Oh wow!
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like you had a heck of a time, but we're glad you're back.
Yeah.
Hope you're recovering from all those planters punches.
Oh yeah.
Stephen Hesselin is here with us as well. Welcome, Stephen. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. It's good to be here. It's time to talk some TV.
Yeah.
Yes, most definitely. So this week, guys, I figured what we're going to do, because it's summertime, things are in repeats, there's not a lot of, I don't know if you guys are watching a lot of live shows right now, but I'm sure we're watching something. I just don't think we're all on the same page right now, probably. So maybe what we'll do is just kind of round robin it and just do a little Me TV, kind of talk about what we are watching and what we're enjoying, where we can find it, all that good stuff. How's that sound?
Sounds good to me.
Good.
That's basically a lot to say. I'm not watching a lot on TV right now. I don't know if you are, but we'll talk about what we are.
I am.
Are you? That's
yeah. So yeah, it's good. There's some good summer shows on. We'll talk about them. Yeah.
Well, let's kick it off, Casey. What's something that you're enjoying during the summer schedule?
One of the shows that I binge watched recently, because when it first started airing, it was getting some not great reviews, but as it picked up, it started getting really good reviews. You know how shows are sometimes like that. It's called Unreal, and it's on Lifetime.
That's one of mine.
Oh, nice.
Isn't it good?
It is fantastic. I love it so much.
It's really good. It follows. I know. Oh no, Steven.
Figure something out.
I have another one I can do.
No, that's all right. Go ahead.
Or we can just tag team discussion of it. I can just
that's true.
There you go. Tag team it from both.
Yeah. I mean, it airs on Lifetime, which immediately you're like, oh geez, what the shit is this? But it's really good, and it's perfect for people like me who do not watch reality shows, because the fact that they're not reality shows is not lost on me. They're really very scripted and very molded to be entertainment, and so I get really kind of tired of that. And so this is a show that follows a fictional reality show that's inspired by The Bachelor. So it goes behind the scenes of this Bachelor type show with this hot British Bachelor. Everlasting, yeah. It's the.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it kind of follows. The story focuses on one of the producers, who's the executive producer, who's Quinn, and she's played by Constance Zimmer, who I think people remember her mostly, I think, from House of Cards. She was Zoe Barnes. First, they were kind of nemesis, and then they sort of teamed up together. And she's so good on this show. Yeah. And then, her name is Sherry Appleby, is the other lead, and she's this very downtrodden. She's now working as like a producer. She's kind of been thrown a bone because on the previous season of the show, she had a complete meltdown because of the stress of working on this ridiculous show, and so she's been given an opportunity to come back and work on it. And so the show follows how these different producers have to kind of mold the show. They have to create drama. They have to develop villains or dark horses. And there's a lot of really good sexual tension between The Bachelor and Sherry Appleby's character. And I missed last night's episode, so I need to watch that. But
I haven't seen that either.
And it's only 10 episodes, I think, and it's been renewed for a second season starting next year. And I really like it. It's gone in so many weird directions, and I just never know what to expect. I mean, I kind of do, because you kind of expect that this kind of thing happens with reality TV. But I just think it's really just so pulpy and fun. It's kind of like Dynasty meets The Bachelor because there's so much ridiculous drama going on. Yeah. So I'll throw it over to you, Stephen, because I've had my say.
Well, it'll be interesting, actually, because I actually have a slightly different perspective on it because, my husband watches The Bachelor and Bachelorette, and by default, then I have to. So I think they are horrible, terrible shows. I mean, they are just this faux, like, trying to find true love. Like you can actually find true love. Like this is what you, in the entire earth, this is the selection you have, and this you have to pick somebody to mate for the rest of your life. It's such a ridiculous concept in just in the outset. And then this whole like I feel myself falling in love. I could definitely find my husband. Like there's never been a season where they're like, you know what? None of these people interest me, and get them all away. There
was one when that Bachelor decided and then they gave him a second chance because apparently everyone hated him.
Yeah.
That was great though.
But they, so this is sort of a behind-the-scenes take on, the show, and I'm sure it's, embellished a lot, but it's one of the things that I really like about it is that it's one of the first shows I've ever watched where they're showing set life, and it feels like set life. The language that they speak, the movement, the stuff they wear, like a lot of times you'll see like set life and they're all dressed up and nice clothes and everything, and it's like, no, you never wear nice clothes. You're grimy. You're doing you don't do that. And then just even little things that they do, like can I get a 20 on this person? Oh, he's in the trailer, and they're speaking on the walkie-talkie. The way they do it, the fluidity of the way they do it it's secondhand. They don't try and explain what they're saying or why they're saying it, and I really love that. The guy who plays her sort of ex-boyfriend, that's the camera guy, actually looks like he knows how to operate a camera. I mean, he's a decent enough actor that he studied, I think, and he looks like he knows how to handle a camera. Like he's moving with it really quickly, and he's doing things a camera person might do. So I mean, I really enjoy it from that perspective. There's a sense of realism to it, even though it's called Unreal. But I will agree with you, Casey, that the only thing I don't like about the show is it takes some weird turns. Like there's definitely, I think you know what I'm talking about. I'm not gonna spoil it, but there's a moment that you're like, what the fuck? Like, how do you recover from that? Exactly. And they sort of are, but
they sort of are, exactly. I'm like,
it's
okay.
It's sort of a show ender, and it's really weird. Right. But I mean, you're right. You know that all these reality shows are being manipulated. They're like even like the Real Housewives series. Whenever they're being interviewed, they call them, well, we did this scene. They call them scenes because they're manufactured. And like, oh, they just happened to be recording when you got that important phone call. Like, come on.
Right.
So it just it's nice to kind of see the behind the scenes and show a side where they're pulling the strings. Mm-hmm. But it's a really fun show, and like you said, great performances. It's pulpy, it's fun, it's very entertaining.
Yeah, it's really good. Surprising from Lifetime. Surprising coming
from Lifetime.
Because I'm just like, who knew Lifetime had it in them? This is like some like ballsy TV, But I guess in that way it would appeal to their core demographic because I think female viewers who have watched shows like Empire or even stuff like The Bachelor would probably find a lot to enjoy in this. So
yeah,
it's interesting. It kind of straddles that line of appealing to people who hate The Bachelor, but people who like it would also probably enjoy it because
exactly.
Behind the scenes there's still this romantic tension, and it's just like, oh Lord. So,
yeah.
But it's so good, Brad. I think you should give it a try. It's really great. It's really involving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely sounds interesting. I haven't given it a go quite yet, but now as you guys are talking about it, I'm like, maybe I should go circle back.
It's a show that moves. Like, it's not like The Walking Dead where they just sit around and talk half the time. Like, every scene, something is happening.
Right.
Right.
And because it's only 10 episodes, they have to make sure something big happens every episode. And so, And in that way, it is kind of like a reality show where it's kind of like, oh, okay, so we're parodying The Bachelor, but like The Bachelor, we have to make sure something major happens every episode to keep you wanting to watch.
Yeah.
So it kind of plays with those conventions, but also applies them to the show. So yeah, it's very meta and weird and
nice.
I think it's so good.
It might change the way I watch reality TV going forward.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you bring this one up because the one show that I am like actively watching this summer is Big Brother, and that's one that I'm kind of watching to fill the hole left by Survivor. My partner Jim and I get together with his ex-wife and daughter every week and watch Survivor, but since it's not on now, we're watching Big Brother because they love that show. And I swear, guys, like, I don't know if you watch Big Brother much at all, but sometimes that shit, you just know it's scripted. Like, they're in the diary room or whatever, right? And you can tell they're reading off of something right in front of them, and it's like, could you be any more obvious? Come on.
Yeah.
You know, and these shows, like, they just find, like, the dregs of humanity and, like, bring them in, and these shitty, awful people. Sometimes you have some fun ones, though. You know, it's few and far between. I think, you know, Survivor, Steven, maybe you can back me up, has done a pretty decent job at getting some good, you know, characters in there. Some people that you love to hate, but also some people you love to root for. Yeah. But I got to tell you, with Big Brother, there's like nobody hardly that I want to root for. You know what I mean? Like, not a lot there for me to kind of latch onto, I guess. But it is interesting. You know, not a lot.
That's always kind of like a side bonus, just in case they're awful people. At least they look good with their shirts off or something.
So here's the thing. I have a really wide range. I mean, I like everything from otters to big bears. You know what I mean? I have a wide range. So there's a couple guys on there that might be kind of attractive. But they've been voted off already.
Oh.
Kicked out of the house.
Jesus.
Well, damn it.
That's not cool.
I know. So there's like, you know, there's a guy on there now. He's a former pro wrestler, and he's like muscular, and he's got a hairy chest, and he's always shirtless. And I'm like, that's awesome. But he's got a long ass beard and long ass hair, and those unfortunately just don't do much for me. So I'm like, I should be staring at your beefy, hairy pecs, but all I can look at is the dried milk in your beard.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's kind of a boner killer.
Yeah. So I know. But yeah, so I'm watching. It's still fun, even if there's nobody that I'm like, oh my god, I really hope they win. It's still interesting to kind of watch them. One thing I've been checking out this year is I think I told you guys I did the CBS Access thing so I could watch old seasons of Survivor.
Yeah.
Well, you get access to the Big Brother live feeds as well as part of it. So I've been kind of like watching them at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I feel weird. Just kind of checking out what's going on in the house, and
they're there so you can watch at 3 o'clock in the morning. Don't feel ashamed.
I know.
They want you to watch at 3 in the morning.
I just wonder, like, how many people are out there like watching in a bathrobe, like you know, at 3 o'clock in the morning.
No, I'm sure that there are
shirtless guys are playing pool and hanging out in the, you know, it's a little weird. It's a little weird. Just say it.
Right.
But yeah, it's interesting. But I'm sure if I circle back and watch the show you guys were talking about, it may make me not want to watch Big Brother. I don't know. So maybe I should hold off.
Big Brother's a little bit different in a certain sense, because they kind of just put them in there and they just live, whereas all these other shows, there's setups,
Right. Mm-hmm. It seems Big Brother seems a little more difficult to manipulate because they have those cameras on there at all times, and so it's kind of like the producers can't rush in and say, okay, do this, and
That's true. That's true.
But I'm sure there's certain manipulation that goes on, like you mentioned. There are some sequences that are like, come on now.
Well, they've got this thing going on right now. They call it the twin twist, and they've got this set of twins that are playing as one person. So every couple days, the one that's in the house goes into the diary room, briefs her sister on everything that's happened, and then the sister goes out, and then they just switch for a couple days. The deal is, if they survive like 5 evictions without getting kicked out, then they both get to enter the game. And so they get to play together, yeah, which is a little interesting.
Kind of weird.
That's such an unusual gimmick.
But it's been kind of fun too, though, because the other players are starting to realize, like, why does she look so much skinnier every couple days? Why is she really flirty with this guy for a couple days and then really flirty with this other guy? And the 2 guys, like, they're into a different guy each, and now they're starting to get jealous of each other and start to, like, have arguments over, you know, these 2 girls that they think are one. It's kind of weird. If you had an identical twin, would you mess with people like that? Would you do that, you think?
I don't know. Probably.
I don't know.
I think you have to. It's your twin responsibility, but.
All right.
But it does kind of seem like it would probably get old pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I would think so, but I don't know. Well, Steven, since Casey introduced your guys' dual choice, do you want to go ahead and go next? What else have you got?
My number 2. One of the things I've been watching, and I just recently stopped watching it because we were sort of catching up on it, was Nurse Jackie. And the reason why I wanted to bring it up was it was the season finale or series finale. It was on for 7 seasons, and I've watched it since season 1 and have always loved it. The actress who plays Zoe on it is just one of my favorite people ever, and Edie Falco always does a fantastic job. The final season was interesting because what they did was they modeled it after something that actually is really happening, which is these real estate is so expensive in New York that they're taking older hospitals and converting them into condominiums and building them out. And so that was sort of how the series ended, was that a Scandinavian company came in and was buying out the hospital and shutting it down and turning it into condos. And so there's a struggle during the season, but eventually they ultimately lose and everything. But I don't think that was a spoiler. But I mean, the show ended, so you kind of guessed it. But yeah, I can't say that I love the way it ended. I'm not gonna spoil that, but it's one of those things. I think a show ending is very hard to do because how do you wrap up all these various storylines yet give some finality, but maybe allow hope for the future and stuff like that. And I mean, I think I don't know if I've said it on this show, but the only show that I've really, really loved the series, actually 2 shows that I've loved the series finale, Breaking Bad and why can't I think of the name right now? It was an HBO show.
Oh, 6 Feet Under?
6 Feet Under, thank you.
Yeah, that was so good.
It was the perfect ending.
That was pretty perfect, yeah.
Yeah. And so those are the only 2 shows I felt like ended the series very well. Nurse Jackie, unfortunately, it sort of raised more questions than answered them. So it was just sort of unfortunate, to me at least. I mean, there was a few tie-ups, but for the most part, you're like, well, what's going to happen with this, and what about this, and what about this? And so I always kind of get frustrated with those. The series as a whole, I loved. It was one of those things where when I was sort of looking up the information of like, oh my God, is this the series finale? I was like, it's only been on for a few seasons, and I realized, oh my God, it's been on for 7 seasons. It's been such a breeze, and they're short seasons, so I think it just went quickly. But it's just it's a great show, great performances, great acting. It's funny, it's heartfelt, it's it's engaging. So it's definitely a series worth watching.
I agree. Yeah, I really liked it. The reason I stopped watching it was because they got rid of there was a character named Momo in the first season who was a game character, and they got rid of him and kept Thor. And Thor was not a good character, and I was just like,
oh, I love
why'd you-"
Thor.
Yeah, he became interesting eventually, but I was just like,
Yeah.
well, and then there was rumors that he was kept because he was friends with the showrunner, so I was just like, you got rid of the interesting character and kept this guy because he's like, buddies with the showrunner or whatever. But it was good, and I love the actress who plays Quinn. I forget what her name is, but she's so good on that show.
Yeah.
And I need to pick back up on that show. You've reminded me to do that.
Yeah. Now that it's over, you gotta see the finale.
Yeah, exactly. I once ran into the guy who played Jackie's husband in
Really?
in Chelsea. Yeah, in Chelsea, he was walking on the street with his kids, and I was like, Mr. Nurse Jackie. But I was like, I don't remember what your name is. Yeah, it was weird, and he was hotter in person. So.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
With a little bit of scruff on him, he probably looks really hot.
Yeah, that's what he looked like. Yeah, he had a growth because he wasn't shooting or anything, but he has kids with him, so I was like, I'm not gonna bother this guy.
I'm not gonna jump on him.
I'm not gonna jump on him, even though it is Chelsea and it would be okay. So we didn't do that.
All right.
Well, Casey, what about you? What's your next choice?
My next choice is a show called Mr. Robot, which is showing on USA, and oh my god, this show is so good. It's another really surprising summer show. Oh, really? It's funny because it shoots in New York, so when I was up there, they had all these ads promoting it because it was shot in the city.
Okay.
And it's really interesting. So it follows this sort of introverted, socially awkward tech geek who's kind of into hacking, and he uses his powers for good. So in the premiere, he outs a guy who owns a national coffee chain who also has a child pornography history, and he works for this major cyber security company. But so in the pilot, what happens is that one of their major clients, which is called E-Corp, which he dubs Evil Corp, and they kind of have an E, sort of like Enron, so they really are, like, the parallels are drawn right there, that it's like this really evil conglomerate company is hacked. And so he stops the hack, but he saves the virus that they put into the company's servers to try to shut them down. And so he eventually discovers that he's being followed and tracked by a guy named Mr. Robot. He's played by Christian Slater, which is so weird to see Christian Slater. Yeah, because he runs into Christian Slater in the pilot, and Christian Slater plays like this homeless guy who's like preaching and ranting on the subways. I'm like, oh, okay. This is weird, because Christian Slater doesn't even attempt to look homeless. It's just like Christian Slater's like, I'm going to pretend to be homeless for a day for charity or something. So, yeah, it's never really that believable. But it turns out that he has like this underground network of hackers and IT tech people that are trying to take down E-Corp. But especially what they're trying to do is shut down a massive server that holds, I think, what's the percentage? Like 75% of the nation's debt. So it includes like mortgages, school loans, property loans, everything. So they're trying to shut it down to redistribute wealth throughout the country, rather than people being indebted to, this giant corporation for the rest of their lives. So the series is basically following this socially awkward guy, and whether he's going to continue to help them or whether he's going to work to shut them down. But it's really good. It's really well done. It's kind of like it kind of reminds me of The Conversation. The Francis Ford Coppola movie.
Oh, yeah.
Gene Hackman is the very, very weird and socially awkward guy who is really good with like recording sounds and things. So it kind of has like a conspiracy theory kind of cyber thriller feel to it. And it's very, very well done pilot, and I think it's really good. I've only seen 2 episodes so far, but I'm really very into it. Yeah, and there is sort of a female romantic love interest, but she's not irritating like the girl on The Flash. Or just like go away. And she's played by the girl who played in the Carrie remake. She was Chris, the evil school bitch in the Carrie remake. I forget what her name is.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and then she was in Her. She was like the surrogate that the computer hired to have sex with Joaquin Phoenix.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
she's getting around, and she's proving that she's better than she was in Carrie, because God knows everyone was terrible in that movie. Yeah, Mr. Robot, absolutely. It's on USA, which is usually known for kind of dull procedurals like Royal Pains and things. But this is really good. It's a total shocking surprise, so totally worth looking into.
Nice. Yeah, I remember seeing ads for that one, Casey, at the movie theater a couple months ago. They were on, like one of these first look things, right?
Yeah.
And they were talking about like the filming of the show and kind of the premise, and it looked really interesting. Is there like a big like drug culture in this show?
Not really. The protagonist is very socially awkward, but he's very lonely, so he takes morphine to kind of dull his pain.
Gotcha.
But it's not. But he monitors it so he doesn't become addicted, and he has a supplement that he can use to battle it, so he doesn't become addicted. So
gotcha.
I'm sure maybe in the first look they showed him with like his dealer having sex and stuff. So
yeah, definitely. And I just remember thinking, okay, like a drug addicted hacker. Recipe for success.
Ooh, sexy.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, ooh, yeah, let's sell this show by making him look like a drug addict.
Exactly.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It's a very small part of the show, but it is a significant part of the show. So.
Maybe this may be a show that I kind of circle back to once the season is over, so that I can binge watch. Guys, I got to tell you, I'm finding I have very little patience for watching shows week to week anymore.
Yeah, I know.
Hi,
it's tough.
Oh my God. Hello.
Oh,
Brad, you've got something on your neck.
I know. I have a growth on my neck.
Brad, I don't mean. Yeah, you have some pussy on your chest.
Oh God.
This is a gay show, so I don't appreciate the pussy.
Oh. So this is Kira, everybody. If you're watching.
Aw, cute.
Kira, she's the most adorable, friendly kitty ever, but she likes to ride shoulders around and give face kisses.
Nice.
So. But hop down, sweetie. Come on. Hop down.
Guys doing a show.
I know.
Exactly.
Daddy's working.
But yeah, I just have so little patience lately for watching shows week to week. I think it's because Netflix, especially lately, it's like, oh, new show, all the episodes are there right now. Right. You know what I mean? So I'll probably just wait, circle back to this one. I like the premise a lot, Casey. It sounds really interesting to me. I guess it's kind of the same thing with like *Halt and Catch Fire*. I think we were talking about that last time as well, right? And I hear that show is been amazing as well. So I think as soon as I'm out of stuff to watch, I'll have to check it out. But
binging is very helpful, I think, and some shows actually work better if you're watching them in sequence than waiting week to week, because then you because if there's an episode that you don't really care for, you're ruminating on it for a week, and then who knows if you're even going to watch the next episode. But if you're going to watch an episode you're only fair on, and then you watch the next episode directly after, it kind of ties together very nicely. But some shows like Game of Thrones and Walking Dead, I'll watch every week live. But but these shows I'm watching this summer, I watch binge. So
yeah, definitely. For me, I guess I'm just finding sometimes I fall back on like comfort shows in a way when I'm like, there's all these new things that I probably should be watching, but I can't make an educated decision on which one I want to watch. Yeah. So, look, something I've watched 5 times before, like Breaking Bad. Let's start that.
Yes, that is me, exactly. I've watched Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt way more than I need to, just because it's there and I love it and I like this. I like the laughs. So yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, speaking of which, I am guilty of comfort show watching, guys. It's been happening. So I think I mentioned last time I was watching Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and I actually finished that. It took me like 6 months, but I finished it. And that was skipping a lot of the bad episodes. Anyway, I've started Star Trek Voyager because watching Kate Mulgrew on Orange is the New Black this season totally put me in the mood for some Janeway awesomeness. And so I started that at the beginning. I don't know. I'm like 10 episodes in or something at this point. But I don't know. It's so painful to watch this show in the first season.
Yeah.
Did either of you guys watch Voyager at all?
I watched the whole thing.
Okay.
I watched a few episodes here and there. It was not Next Generation. Still my favorite of all.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Definitely.
really liked Voyager, but I do remember it taking a while to kind of get going.
Yeah, I think until they got like 7 of Breasts on there.
Yeah.
I mean 7 of 9.
I know. I was gonna say. Yeah, I get it.
Interesting Brad trivia. So I am a Platinum Star gay, and I say that because I'm a C-section. So I've
Me
technically
too.
never touched a
High
vagina.
five.
High
High
five!
five.
Never touched
Platinum,
one.
platinum gay.
That's
Yep,
right.
Never done.
Platinum status. But the only woman I would ever have sex with is 7 of 9. Not Jerry Ryan, the actress, but actually like 7 of 9, like that character.
Exactly. Because Jerry Ryan's gross, but the character's great.
Actually, I've met Jerry Ryan. She's pretty amazing. But
She is. I love
I wouldn't
her.
have sex with Jerry Ryan. I would have sex with her. But anyway,
Sorry,
that's
Jerry
a
Ryan.
weird aside. You know, Jerry Ryan, if you're watching, I have infinite love for you, but not that way.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, so it's so funny though because like with Kate Mulgrew, she's she looks so different on Orange Is the New Black that it's almost a little jarring to go back and see what she looked like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But she still has some of that same like gruff edge to her. Like there's this episode where she's talking to this evil bad guy and she's like, "Get off my ship," and I'm just like. I could totally hear her in my head as Red being like, "Get out of my kitchen."
Right, exactly.
Right,
Exactly.
right. So, so yeah. Anyway, I'm enjoying going back. I'm a big Star Trek nut, but I'm looking forward to the show picking up again. But part of me feels guilty because every episode of Voyager I watch is like an episode of something new that I could be experiencing elsewhere.
This is true.
I know.
This is true.
I know.
But you know what? We all fall into these patterns where it's like, yeah, it took me a long time to start watching Unreal and Mr. Robot and my third show because I was just like, I'm just going to watch stuff I'm comfortable with because it's been a long week and I just need to feel comfortable.
Yes,
So
exactly.
give me something that I know I love and that I can just decompress and laugh and smile. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, Casey, what's your final one here?
My final one is Masters of Sex, which this is another one that it premiered while I was in Bear Week, so I didn't see the premiere, and then the second one premiered, and I missed that. I finally just watched the premiere this weekend, and there's 2 more episodes I have to watch, but I still love the show. It's Leslie Kaplan's show all the way, and she's, I've loved her in everything since Freaks and Geeks, so yeah, Masters of Sex, it's fast forward to 1965, and so at this point they've been working on the study for 4 more years. Virginia's kids have grown up, and I guess spoilers if anyone hasn't seen the show, but, Masters, I don't know, it's a real-life thing, so
Yeah.
not really.
Can
Is
you
it
really
a
spoil it?
spoiler? Yeah, because if you have any research into Masters and Johnson, you know that he was married. She was a divorcee, and they began an affair while they were researching their, seminal book. And but apparently, well, in the last season finale, we learned that Libby knew that they were having an affair, and she just wasn't saying anything because, she's being a dutiful wife, and she didn't hate Virginia. She liked Virginia, so she was glad that she knew who her husband was having an affair with and everything. So now they've kind of had this weird kind of like co-mingling relationship in the premiere where Virginia and Masters and Libby go on like a vacation with their kids, and they all cohabitate, and they're all like, they're acting like they're like, it's like Big Love or something. It's like, so we're all together, and these are all of our kids, and we're all just one big happy family. It's very weird and very unusual. But I'm liking where it's going so far. The premiere episode mostly focuses on their relationships between those three protagonists, a little bit about their study, but subsequent episodes are supposed to get a little nutty, and in terms of sexual stuff. And in terms of guest stars, I think Allison Janney is supposed to be coming back again.
Oh,
so I'm super
really?
excited
Wow.
about. She's so great on the show anyway. She played such an amazing character in the first 2 seasons. So yeah, Master of Sex continues to be great. Showtime on Sundays. Yeah. So.
Sundays are the night.
Sunday is the night. Yeah.
Is the night. Yeah, Sundays.
Every
yeah.
major show comes on Sunday. Game of Thrones, Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Everything comes on Sunday.
Yeah.
Nice. So Masters of Sex, very
Yeah.
cool. I'm glad to hear that it's that's another one of those shows that I keep hearing is good, right?
We had talked about it way back, over a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we talked about it first season. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think some of the second season a little bit. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, how about you, Steven? What's your final pick here?
My final is something actually you mentioned earlier, which was 'Halt and Catch Fire." I am watching it the second season, and I haven't seen last night's episode, or Sunday night's episode, but
Another Sunday night show.
I would say it's almost as good as the first season. They're kind of exploring this whole thing of, Cameron and everyone have moved off and started this new company, and it's this sort of it's that sort of rebel tech culture that happened in the early tech days of, sort of the birth of startups, and sort of, those gamer companies that just, didn't give a crap and were breaking all the rules. And so they're kind of following that sort of storyline. It's a little played out. That's the only reason why I'm kind of saying it's almost as good, because it's just sort of okay, we get it, you're a rebel.
Is it like how they're saying in every episode, we're rebels?
Yeah. And there's only 2 more episodes left, and the whole season, one of the biggest things I liked about the first season was the Joe character, Lee Pace. He was this dynamic, Steve Jobs-esque salesman, that was able to really woo people with his the way he talked, and he would just really mesmerize them with stuff and get them to believe in him, and then he would lead them off a cliff almost. It was up to them to sort of fend for themselves and hold everyone up. And this whole season, they've handcuffed him with this storyline of trying to settle down and be married and everything. And there's been glimpses of them releasing the handcuffs, and then they put the handcuffs back on. And and so it's this whole season you're waiting for him to break free, and then the last episode that I saw, they're 2 more episodes left. You're what? He's never gonna. Okay, so this whole season he's been pretty impotent, and it's wah wah. So that's the only thing that I got it at first, but then I thought at some point he was gonna become himself again, and he really hasn't been able to. So it's just kind of frustrating, but it's still a really great show. I still enjoy watching it every week. I haven't given up on it. It hasn't been a True Detective for me.
Are you still watching that, or you gave up?
I am, admittedly, and I will say I hate the show. It is the worst dialogue. It is poor acting and everything, but they did do you remember in the first season where there was that scene where they were running through the camp and there was a big shootout?
Oh, the single camera thing.
Yeah. And it was the most exciting thing you've ever seen, and it was it kind of rehooked you.
Right.
They did one of those, and it wasn't single camera, but it was this massive shootout scene that was so well done and so insane. Wow. And it was just one of those things of oh my god! But then they the next episode is just Vince Vaughn talking to his weird wife partner, and the dialogue is so bad, and they're using these horrible metaphors, and it's not anything anyone would ever say to each other, and it's just terrible. You're oh yeah, that's right, the show's terrible. So
that's such a disappointment.
It really is. It's just so sad. And it's universal. I think I've spoken to anyone who's no, I like it.
Well, it's crazy because the ratings are good this season. I'm who is watching this show?
Yeah.
Who is liking this show? I don't understand. It confuses me. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
What about the sound?
Sorry, what was that? You broke up a little.
How is the soundtrack for that show?
I really don't like it, and the opening sequence I think is still amazing, but I don't like the music they do.
No, I don't.
It's like
Really?
you know, it's this weird like jazzy thing. But then there's these scenes that they have in this bar. Whenever Vince Vaughn is talking to someone, they're in this weird bar that I don't know if he owns it or if they just go there all the time. But every time they're there, they have this woman playing these songs on the guitar, and it's
Weird.
sort of like, I hate it. There's so much I hate about that.
But you still watch it.
I know,
You're
it's so weird.
watching it.
I feel like
You're hate
I don't-
watching.
I am hate watching, and I feel like I've invested so much time into it, and they've gotten these, these questions that have yet to be answered. I kind of feel like I just want, I want to watch it to see what the answers are.
Oh my
And-
god! You know you're gonna hate the answers.
I know. I'm gonna hate it so much.
You're gonna be like, "Fuck you, True Detective."
I'm gonna be really pissed. I know it, but I
You
just.
are. And you know what?
I
I want you to tell us what the secrets are because I'm not going to watch it, and we'll just say spoilers,
Yeah.
and then you'll just tell us everything. So
There
we
you
have
go.
time. Brad and I will thank you for that.
For saving you like 10 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
We would appreciate that. We would appreciate
Yeah.
that.
All
Actually.
on the True Detective sword for us, please.
I will.
Thanks for taking one for the team, man.
Yeah,
That's what I'm here for.
you're an MBP TV warrior.
That's right. That's right. Oh man.
Oh, sorry.
That's right. The dog.
He doesn't like it
Yeah.
either.
He does not.
He does not.
He's like, I fucking hate Vince Vaughn.
All right.
Oh goodness gracious.
What's your final one, Brad?
Yeah, Brad.
You know, yeah. So I actually, I bought a new car recently. I bought
yeah.
a Mustang. Yeah, and so I've been kind of enjoying that. And a friend of mine who's a big car nut was telling me that the History Channel has this show called Automobiles, and they do like mini documentaries on all these different types of cars. So I actually was able to go and stream the documentary they did on the Ford Mustang from the very first model in like 1963 or whatever, all the way up through the 2014 version, which is what I got. And it's only about 40 minutes long, but it was really, really interesting in ways that I didn't think it was going to be. Like, it was talking all about how, like, Ford's son, who was in charge of the company at the time, was having this war of wills with Lee Iacocca, who was like the brainchild behind the Ford Mustang, and it was totally like this like business intrigue, like they're tearing each other down over this car, and how public perception over like, we went from like the family car with 4 seats, and it's kind of that Mad Men-esque sort of thing, right? Where in the 50s and the early 60s, that was what you got. But then the Mustang came around, and it started trending things away towards like the 2-seater or the like the sports car. And what I found really fascinating was how many women were buying Mustangs back in the early 60s.
Wow.
Apparently, if you were a liberated woman, you bought a Mustang. That's what you did. And they were showing
Mustang's Alley, like that.
Yeah, and they were showing all these like old commercial clips where they were marketing it to women. They're like, it's the sports car that a secretary can buy.
That's kind of awesome, actually, because you don't see a lot of car commercials even now aimed at women.
I know. I had no idea that like they even had commercials like that.
It's like commercials that are like, you shouldn't get out of the kitchen or stop watching your kids, but if you do it in a Mustang.
Even a secretary can buy it. Even
I know.
working in a woman's job can get this car.
So while I thought it was cool that they were marketing to women, I'm also like, it's a little misogynistic because it's like, hey, we know the apex of your life is being a secretary, but you know what? You can still have a Mustang too. I'm just like, that's a little.
Your boss will love it.
You may get paid half of what a man would get paid, but at least you can afford a Mustang.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god.
Yeah. So anyway, I I don't know. I just thought it was really interesting. Very cool to kind of see the historical context.
Yeah.
I can't remember like the last time I watched something on the History Channel of all things. But they have online streaming content, guys. Don't know if you know that.
Yeah.
They do.
Oh wow! No, I
and
did
if
not
you,
know.
yeah, if you have an active cable subscription, at least through Apple TV, you can go back and watch a lot of this old stuff. So,
That's cool.
yeah, definitely. So
The
that's
History
kinda
Channels
cool.
is one of those channels that, like, if I'm flipping channels, it's one of those stop channels because it's
Yeah.
like there's always something interesting on. I never go to the channel, but if I'm flipping through, I'll just stop there and then I'll end up watching something for like an hour and a half and be like, that was amazing.
Right.
But I'll never go to that channel. It's weird.
Right. It's not a go-to channel,
Well,
but you're glad it's there for, for rainy days.
Well, the History Channel and I have like a love-hate relationship because they have certain fun shows, but then they have, these shows like there was one back in the 90s called Wings or something, and it was all about like the history of airplanes.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I think airplanes are cool. My dad was a military guy though, so he would like come home from work. Love you, Dad, if you're watching. I love you. But he would come home from work and like turn on like a Wings marathon for like 5 hours, and he'd fall asleep on the couch like with the remote wedged underneath him. And if you got that remote out and changed the channel to something else, he would wake up and be like, "Where's my show?" So I don't know. I have a hard time watching the History Channels.
I think it was the History Channel that had a show, America's Secret Slang, that was really fascinating.
I think so. Yeah.
It's one of those shows that, like, we taped it for a little bit, but we haven't watched it in a while. But it's one of those things where it's like you use so many little slang phrases in your daily life that you have no idea where they came from, and if you really kind of know where they came from, you're like, oh, that's interesting, and maybe I shouldn't use that anymore.
Right.
Derogatory.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. Well, History Channel also has Swamp People, which Jim and I enjoy a lot.
Yeah,
it's kind of a guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
But it's so fun to watch, right?
It is, yeah.
But yeah. So anyway, all that to say, I think I'm going to spend some quality time kind of checking out some of the back catalog of the History Channel. There's some cool stuff in here, and if you want to learn something, if you want to learn-imicate yourself.
But it's summer. It's not school time.
Yeah.
Whatever. Different strokes for different blokes.
No, this is true. I do love learning. I do love learning. I like learning. It's fun.
Learning is fundamental.
Learning is fundamentals.
Well, guys, let's move on to some pluggage. How do you feel about that?
Sure.
Yeah,
plug it up. Awesome. Well, Steven, you're up first, my friend. What is your plug for this week?
Well, I'm not watching too much, and so I kind of blew my wad with most of the Me TV stuff. But I will say, for a future plug, we have to keep an eye out for Fear of the Walking Dead. I think that's towards the end of August. But for stuff that's currently on, even though I haven't watched it, but I have a bunch of them taped, I always like to highly recommend American Ninja Warrior. It is a show that is repetitive yet amazing and fascinating to watch, and it's one of those shows that's like, I wish I could do that, and half the time, like, I could probably do that. No, I can't do that. But I think it's definitely one of those great equalizer sports things where competition, where it's almost anyone, people, very surprising people make it through the course, and people that are veterans, will fail, and not make it through. So it's fascinating.
Awesome. Very good.
I forgot that was on this summer.
Yeah.
American Ninja Warrior.
Yeah.
How about you, Casey? What is your plug this week?
I am unreasonably excited about Wet Hot American Summer series starting on Friday on Netflix. Is that
what the hubbub is all about?
Yes, because that movie is so freaking funny.
It's so weird. It's such a strange movie.
Oh, it's so good. I remember, so way back in the day, it came out in 2000, I was working at Blockbuster, and we had one copy on VHS that we got for rent. No DVD. It didn't come out on DVD. I had to special order it and pay $30 for it. But yeah, we had one copy on VHS. It was always rented out because it got a rave review in Entertainment Weekly, and not many other places gave it a good review otherwise. But it was never on the shelf. It was always rented out, and it really became a cult classic just kind of overnight, and then everyone in it started becoming famous. So
Yeah.
I mean, Amy Poehler, Bradley Cooper, who else is in that movie that's famous?
Well, it's
Everyone
like
who's in it
Michael
is
Ian
famous.
Black.
Paul
And,
Rudd is in it. Elizabeth Banks became famous after, and she directed a #1 movie this summer at this point. So yeah, now the series managed, like Arrested Development, managed to get all of these people back together for this series, but unlike Arrested Development, which took a cheesy way out, all these people share scenes together, and it's not like one episode is on one character. They all interact. They're all part of the summer camp experience in like 1981, I think, is when it's set.
huh.
And I cannot wait. I am so excited about this series. All the episodes are starting on Friday because it's Netflix, so I can binge it all weekend. I'll probably finish it Friday night. Actually, I'm already calling it. That's what I'm doing after work. So
Yeah. Awesome.
yeah.
Very cool. Well, hope you enjoy. I haven't seen the full movie. I started watching it with Jim. He was watching it a while back,
Mhm.
and I got so tired I fell asleep, and I woke up like at the end of the movie. And so I need to circle back because I'm sure we're going to want to watch the series.
Yeah.
So we'll have to check it out. But for me this week, I'm actually going to plug the Movie Bears podcast.
Oh.
Yeah, we had a fun episode this week. It should be up in iTunes by the time you're listening to this. If you're listening in iTunes, if you're watching live, it's not quite up yet. But we reviewed both Pixels and Paper Towns,
Ooh.
and it was actually a really great discussion. We had Michael Denniston from Warhorse vs. War Machine. They're a podcast that basically reviews like a new movie and then pairs it with two older movies that are sort of interconnected thematically. And super good discussion. So definitely check it out. Even if you haven't seen Pixels or Paper Towns, we kind of, we always give some spoiler-free advice on whether you should see the movies.
Right.
And we weighed in on this whole, like, internet shitstorm over Pixels. And
Everyone just loves to pick on Adam Sandler, man. And
I know.
I think he's kind of earned it, though.
I think he has too. I'm not an Andler Sandler. I'm not an Adam Sandler fan at all.
Andrew Blambler?
Yeah, I'm totally not a fan of his at all. But I actually kind of liked him in this movie, so it was a little weird.
Oh, I love Kevin James, so I need to see it for Kevin James.
Well, there you go.
'Cause-
Warning.
Uh-oh.
What was the warning?
There's no
That's so funny. He said
shirt.
warning.
Warning! Oh no!
And then he
Okay.
blacked out.
warning. Yeah, that was weird.
All
Thanks,
right.
Google Plus.
So what was the warning?
Google Plus. I was just saying, warning. There's no shirtless Kevin James, so
Oh.
don't get your
Okay,
hopes up.
well,
I'm sorry.
I guess I'll wait for
Boo.
then. It's about-
Anyway, well, I think that wraps us up, guys. Definitely was fun to do this with you
Yeah.
again. I'm glad we were able to kind of get our schedules to line up. I always love these Me TV segments because sometimes when we're not watching the same thing, right, it can be difficult to come up with, like, what do we talk about?
Yeah.
Right.
But I need to just watch more stuff, apparently, that's not comfort shows.
Or if
But,
there's not premiering, we can all just agree to watch something that's premiering that's a new show and talk about
That's
it.
true. That's true. We
Like
can
Fear,
do that as
like
well.
Fear the Walking Dead premieres at the end of August. There are a few other premieres that we could probably talk about
Yeah,
before the
definitely.
big fall avalanche show starts.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, I know, right? I'm definitely looking forward to the new Walking Dead show.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that'll be on our radar. But
Yeah, absolutely.
all right, well, you guys all have a good one, and
You
we will see you
too.
next time.
You
All
too.
right.
Bye.
Right, bye. Enjoy TV.
Yes, he said it. I just complete.